All right, I have been officially allocated 27 minutes. Let's see how I can do. So, again, welcome. And especially, we have some instructors with us today. And I personally believe that teaching is a work of heart. So thank you in particular for being here. Our agenda today is to build connections. But first, I have some questions. Now, some of these you're going to help with, but others I'm going to take a shot at trying to answer. Sound okay? Ready to go? Okay. So, first question, who are we here today? How many of you are completely new to CRI? Show of hands. Wow, that's great. Terrific. How many were enticed here by a friend or relative or partner? Okay, a couple of people will confess to that. How many instructors do we have? Okay, everybody seek them out, introduce yourselves. Thank you for being here. Let's see, how many college staff do we have? Okay. All right, we have Marie from the College Foundation. We have Mary, who is the director of the Continuing Education Department, which is the organization that houses the CRI program. And we have Uliana, our program manager. How many volunteers do we have in the room? And how many volunteers that were involved in planning this event? Okay. Special thanks to all of you. Great job as always. Our volunteers really are the engine that keeps CRI running. And I've come to think of them as our CRI aces because they're all the best. And me being me, I, of course, have to find a backronym to fit with ACES. And so I thought Allies for Continuing Education Support might fit pretty well. So there you go. And let's hear it for all of our volunteers. One other shout out. Leanna, could you come up here for a second? So Uliana has been in the country 7 years, and I cannot conceive of what it would be like to walk off an airplane in a foreign country where you don't know a word of the language and make a new life. And I'm really impressed. And she's been with the college that entire time, pretty much, and only with CRI about 6 months, which is twice as long as I've been in this role. So we're a great pair. But on behalf of the rest of the team, here are some flowers for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I think that Uliana has done an amazing job at navigating the very interesting CRI culture maze. And I truly have never met anyone more dedicated to doing a good job.
Thank you.
And I really thank you for all of your help. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, now just a few words about me if you're interested. And you can find more than you could possibly want if you want to go to my website at terrygray.org, including this deck of slides in case you have a hard time sleeping tonight. You can review them. Actually, the only thing I want to say about this is that last item, I was doing really well at being a recovered workaholic until that fateful day in June when I was unceremoniously unretired by an unruly band of undaunted board members who were unwilling to take no for an answer, but thought unapologetically that it might be entertaining to elect someone to draw a map of these uncharted waters who was unburdened by any historical knowledge of CRI and completely unequipped for the adventure. So, I even had to provide my own hard hat. Now, in fairness, they did provide me with a weapon. Sort of. I think it's kind of wimpy for the challenge ahead. I mean, when I was 21 and became a naval officer, I got a sword. So I can fall back on that. All right. I forgot. My contract requires me to warn you that I have a certain affliction for which there is no known cure. So for those of you who might identify some of the coming slides as too clever by half, my response is, bah humbug. Okay, moving right along. When I thought about this assignment, these many days ago, I thought first I better figure out what is CRI. And I checked my 1960 Encyclopedia Britannica and could find nothing. So, of course, the next thing to do is check online. And apparently, CRI means connoisseurs of real information, or coalition of reclusive introverts, or constructive remedy for ignorance, or cure for reduced intelligence, or curiously reticent intellectuals, or calligraphers from Rhode Island, or perhaps all of the above. Do we have any calligraphers from Rhode Island?
She's not here today.
Okay, well, maybe not all of the above. More seriously, one of the things I observed when I started thinking about this is that CRI is used in two different ways. It's used to refer to an organization, and it's used to refer to a program. And the organization, as you know, is volunteer-driven, and quoting pretty much from our mission statement, dedicated to providing quality, affordable learning opportunities for seniors in a supportive environment. Now, the CRI Lifelong Learning Program is a jointly managed collaboration between the college and CRI. Now, the key program goals are quality and affordability. The key organization goal is sustainability of the program. Okay. I want to come back to that collaboration part, because I think the partnership is so crucial. And as I was driving to the office last week, I thought of a metaphor that seemed like it might be useful. I was thinking about when you book a flight to Spokane on Alaska, and you look at the ticket and it says operated by Horizon Air. Well, that's kind of like what's going on here. We have this partnership between the college and CRI, and we're presenting superior lifelong learning for seniors. And instead of premier flights, we're offering premier classes, and they're booked through the resources of the college, and the classes are operated by CRI. Does that make sense? Is that a useful metaphor to think about?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we figured out what is CRI, the next question that I thought I'd better focus on is, how are we doing? My preliminary assessment was that CRI is obviously a huge success story. 26 years and counting. Fantastic program. The burning question I had was, is it a sustainable success? And as a result of that question, I decided that what we needed was a crisis analysis. That is, looking at CRI's symptoms inhibiting sustainability. And when I'm thinking about that, I came across this quote. It's by John Gardner. It says, "What we have before us are some breathtaking opportunities disguised as insoluble problems." How many of you know the name John Gardner? Okay, I had to look him up, but he was a Republican from Los Angeles who, around 1965 or so, was tapped by LBJ to make the Great Society program real. So how many of you like PBS? You got this guy to thank for it. He started the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. How many of you like Medicare? You got this guy to thank. He's behind it. So I thought this was a pretty good quote for not only the problems that he was facing in 1965, and I remember looking outside my college's engineering building down the street at the smoke coming up from Watts. So he had some pretty breathtaking opportunities to deal with then. Ours are pretty minor by comparison. But it is, I think, a pivotal year for CRI, and we do have our own small-scale flavor of interesting opportunities. We've got financial challenges. Expenses have been going up over the years, and income has been down the last few years. Oops. And we've got some organizational challenges, too. The fabric of our partnership has got a few stretch marks and a few rips in it we got to work on. So, here are the opportunities. Re-energize our marketing, and on the organizational side, rebuild trust. That's what we're going to do. Pivot time. One of the things we've learned already from the renewed marketing initiative is that marketing really matters. Like we didn't know that. As of this morning, we had 386 people enrolled in classes for this fall quarter. And I believe that is a record high. So that's really great news. And, you know, pushing toward 100 new people, which is fabulous. Now, we've also seen that there are a number of people who have signed up in previous quarters that we haven't seen this quarter. So we've got more work to do and a marketing opportunity there. Now, some information that I just became aware of yesterday, thanks to Jerry Hollingsworth, is that the course mix this fall, is skewing to the short courses. So 1/3 of the folks have signed up for just, I'm sorry, I said short courses, but fewer numbers of courses. So 1/3 of the folks just signed up for a single class, which is fine. We want to encourage that. It's just that our financial model wasn't built around that assumption. And so we have, with our current pricing, a situation where the longer classes subsidize the shorter classes. So we need to look at that, and we'll be making some recommendations and proposals to discuss different ways we can make some adjustments on that front. There is, in addition to that information, a bit of a troubling trend. One of the numbers that's really important to look at from a budget point of view is the average number of sessions per student. So like 1 session, 2 session, 3 session, 4 session. 4-session class obviously brings in more revenue than a 1-session class. And that ratio has been declining for several years. And I don't have a theory as to why. You know, maybe we are tending to offer more shorter classes than we used to, I'm not sure. But it's a trend that is something we have to watch carefully, and it does have pretty significant implications on the budget. You know, for example, so right now we've brought in about just over $40,000 of income, And our break-even target for this quarter is about 46. So we're down about 13%. And there's still going to be some more people signing up. So, those numbers will change. But just as an indication of how that ratio of sessions per students affects the overall budget, at the current ratio of 7.0, we would need 443 members to reach our break-even target. And that would be over 50 more than we currently have. If that ratio went up to 7.5, which would be like a half session more for everybody, or one session for half of everybody, we'd only need 33 more people to reach break-even, which I think is eminently doable. So the message is everybody go sign up for one more class. In fact, I'm sorry we didn't have time to prepare just one more badges for everyone. So, summary project, the program status, I'd say finances are fragile. Not gloom and doom, we're moving in the right direction, but we're going to have to make some adjustments, and we've got to keep the push on marketing and trying to make sure we keep more folks aware of what's being offered in this fantastic program. Now, what about organization status? Well, that brings me to how did I spend my summer vacation? Did a lot of listening, a lot of reading, a lot of thinking, a lot of writing, a lot of pondering different choices. And when I approach problems like this, or in my career, I use a technique which I have decided should be called MAMA, for the maximally alliterative methodology for avoiding apocalypse. Now, the result of this activity is what I call the CRI 3.0 project. And its focus is organizational and operational improvement and moving to data-driven decisions and trying to get the right instrumentation in place to monitor what's going on and allow us to have some basis for saying, yeah, we need to make some adjustments on the pricing or whatever it is, and here's why. Now, my starting point in trying to analyze organizational dynamics is based on my belief that the most critical success factors for any team are social, not any of the other factors you might imagine, but they revolve around things like trust and goodwill and respect. As I was researching John Gardner, I came across another quote that he made toward the end of his life. It was as he was doing an interview for a documentary on PBS around 2000. And this is the quote. I think it has relevance to us here, and it has relevance nationally and internationally. Just take a moment to look at that. It was a great nation full of talented people with enormous energy who forgot that they needed one another. I find that very powerful. Okay, so in my crisis analysis, remember that's looking at symptoms inhibiting sustainability, I wanted to take the next step down, look for social indicators of stress. And my assessment is that, in fact, we do have a crisis of trust that we've got to deal with. And if we don't deal with it, it could be a cold winter. So let's fix it. And first of all, let's look at what some of those social indicators of stress might be. There's a few examples, and I found examples that fit each of those categories as I kicked over rocks over the last few months. But it's pivot time. So we're going to turn that around and now focus on social indicators of success, starting with seriously inspired staff, supporting inquisitive seniors with a superior instruction system. Now, I don't know about you, but that's my kind of crisis that I want to have. Are you with me? All right. That's what we're going to do. And I think great things really are coming. Certainly we're going to work on stronger partnership, better communication, and clearer roles and responsibilities, improving processes, and obviously improving financial sustainability. Those are the specific goals of the CRI 3.0 project, which I'm hoping will reach consensus at the upcoming board meeting in a week to say, yep, let's move forward with this. But I do want to say that there's another meta goal of this project, and that is to have a culture in CRI of continuous, relentless improvement. Because not to get too Darwinian, it's adapt or die. We have to keep on our toes. The world is changing around us. Demographics are changing. Opportunities and competition are changing. So we need to keep up on our game and keep looking for ways to refine and improve. All right, and so that brings us to the question of what's next. You're all artists. You've all got paintbrushes, and the future is going to depend on you. It's going to depend on you in different roles. As instructors, as volunteers, as students, as responders to surveys like the ones on the table that the event folks would love to have your feedback on, like the surveys that you'll probably be getting by email in the next few weeks to give us feedback on some policy issues. And to help clarify your thinking, I have a class assignment for you. Think of CRI as the unfinished canvas. And what I want you all to be doing with your paintbrushes to finish the canvas is, number one, never stop learning, because that's what we're all about. Number two, never stop building connections in particular, because those are the cornerstone of CRI. And finally, never stop believing in the impact that you can have. You will all have impact. We will all have impact, either pro or con. So choose wisely, because we need your help. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it.